Everyone, it's Kirsten of Integrated Wellbeing. Um, a lot of you are very familiar with my husband Rob. He's been coming on and doing some great videos as well. But together it's our passion to provide, I guess, a service, information, etc. for all of you. And what I would like to do today is give you an introduction to essential oils, which is a very big part of what we do. So some of you are going to know a lot about essential oils. Some of you will know a little, like, okay, I know that I've smelt some essential oils, or I know that they're used in hand lotion, which was where I was when I first started this journey. And some of you will know nothing at all. I think that's rare. I think most of us have some sort of idea, even if it's like, oh yeah, it's that hippie thing, that smelly hippie thing that people do when you kind of smell it when you're in I don't know, crystal shops and things like that. So look, that's where I was. I knew just a little bit about it, but so to give you a quick little background and why I decided to look at essential oils for our family is that I had a friend who was using them very effectively. She has 4 children, and she would continuously tell me how she was using them for a variety of issues that, in fact, our family was having as well. And so some of those issues, and by the way, I'm going to read now and then off some notes so that I don't go too far on the sidetrack, because this is such a passion of mine. So bear with me if my eyes keep going down at the notes, okay? But it's in your favour that I do that. Okay, so some of the things that she was talking about was aches and pains in herself, but also in her children, you know, when they were having growth spurts, etc. So that was certainly something that spoke to me, and I was interested in finding out how on earth you would use essential oils to help with things like that. Some other things, she has a daughter and I have a son who were continuously needing medical intervention for breathing issues that they're having. And so I'm going to be very mindful not to use actual disease names, etc., because that's not what I'm claiming. I'm not saying, hey, what I'm going to talk to you about today is, you know, removing all medical support and using essential oils instead. But certainly if your children are suffering and you're able to help them with a more natural option that perhaps complements and maybe even replaces what you're doing, that is giving them some really negative side effects, then, you know, maybe you would like to look at that. Certainly I did. So she opened up her first aid bag, because one of the children came over with what they called a boo-boo, because they're from the States, and she had a boo-boo on her finger, and my friend opened up her little pouch, which was her first aid bag, and what fell out was like, whoa, amazing, all these beautiful natural products. And so she pulled out, you know, lavender and frankincense, you know, for this particular situation. And I was just mesmerized, like, wow, that's your first aid kit. She had this gorgeous little book. It's just an A to Z guide, you know, and as I said, wow, you use it for this, you use it for that. She showed me the book, and I just opened it up, and the uses in there, I just, wow. So, okay, so you can use essential oils for all sorts of issues, is that right? So, you know, she told me more about it, and I just decided, why not try it? You know, some of the things that I was using just weren't that effective, and I would really like to try all natural products. So what I'm going to do then, so that's a little about why we use essential oils. And so what I'd like to do for you now, to not take up too much time, and further down the track we can go into more specific oils, I guess, and more specific products. So what I'd like to do is just touch on what are essential oils, why we use the Doterra brand essential oils, how to use them, and then a little bit about the 10 most popular, I guess, oils that we kind of have in our arsenal. So you'd almost call them your first aid kit. So firstly, what are essential oils? And I'm just going to read that from yet another gorgeous little book that I just find so handy to have. You don't need to have all that knowledge up here, right? There's enough going on up here. So I'm just going to say, okay, essential oils, they are natural substances distilled or pressed from plants. So most of you would be familiar with that. For instance, peppermint oil. If you're going to drink peppermint tea, that will be, pressed peppermint plants. Okay. It is actually then the essential oil that's coming out of the plant that makes the tea smell so beautiful and has its positive effect. If you were to just dry the plant and suck on it, it's just not going to have the same effect, obviously. So they're highly concentrated in a little bottle. Essential oils are super, super concentrated. So just the tiniest amount will actually have a really strong effect. For instance, I do believe in my notes here, 1 drop of peppermint essential oil is equal to 28 cups of peppermint tea. So the amount of oil in 1 drop is equal to what is being used for 28 cups of tea. So that's pretty powerful, right? So that's the concentration of it. They've been used for thousands of years. You've often heard of the use of frankincense and myrrh, etc. You can go in history books and see where the uses are. A lot of studies have been done, and I'm not going to bore you. I do like all the scientific studies, etc., but I won't bore you with that here. Ask me for links, and I'm happy to share them with you. But a lot of studies have been done on the antifungal properties, antibacterial, antiviral. So we know that with viruses, it's pretty difficult to get something that's effective against viruses. Essential oils are. The reason for that is that the chemistry, so the chemical makeup of them allows them to actually move into the cells. I might come back to that later. Again, I'm trying not to sidetrack too much all these exciting bits that I know about essential oils. Okay, basically that will explain that they are natural compounds and that our body is able to take them in effectively because they haven't been broken down and synthesized. So our bodies are able to take them in the way they were meant to work. So if you look at plants in your garden, for instance, if you break off a leaf, it has its own healing properties. That's the essential oils of the plant that actually help it heal. It actually help it to be protected from all sorts of, I'm not a gardener, but there's all sorts of issues that can happen in your garden that can, I don't know, get like black spots and all those sorts of things. So yes, it does happen, but it does help protect the plant from that. So it's those compounds that we're able to utilize in our own bodies as well. And so that way we're able to use it for, oh gosh, for our skin, for our hair, and yeah, I'm trying not to go into the specifics but look, I'm just going to say for physical issues and emotional issues as well. Okay, so why doTERRA essential oils in particular? Now, I was familiar with some essential oils, as I said, just a tiny little bit, and I did know that some of them I just found the smell not to be all that pleasant, and some I did. But when I then did a little bit of research and wondered for myself, well, why buy these ones as opposed to the other ones? And look, the purity of these oils, that is really key. So if I'm going to buy them in a $2 shop or even a chemist, I'm not really sure where the plants have been harvested, how they have been harvested, whether the oil has been tested, and the purity of it, because it's here in Australia at least, and I believe it's the same in the States, and I'm not sure about around the world, but pretty much I would assume it's pretty similar all over the world, that there's no real regulation. So that means that if you buy a bottle of oil that says, 100% lavender oil, okay, but what parts of the plant were used, where was it grown, and what else is involved in that bottle? So is it only lavender oil, or have they actually added to it, which they very well may have. It can be all or partly synthetic lavender as well, because of course you're able to, pull the chemistry apart and kind of create something that smells like lavender, but it's not going to have the same effect. So Doterra has a way of showing us the purity. Again, that's a link that I can give you where you can grab a bottle, have a look at the little number underneath, and actually see what's all involved with that and where the testing is. Doterra does its own testing twice, and then it sends it away for third-party testing, and everything that doesn't kind of meet those 3 levels of tests gets sold by someone else, not by Doterra. Okay, so the plants aren't grown by Doterra wherever it's convenient for them, so they find places like, for instance, where does lavender grow really well? Okay, France, Bulgaria, where the ground is perfect for it, the soil is perfect for it, and where communities have done this for hundreds of years, maybe even longer, and are familiar with how to get the best lavender plants going. So Doterra will move into that community and kind of make arrangements for the proper growing of it, and be able to check along the way that it's grown according to their standards, that it's then harvested at the correct time, that it is then distilled according to their standards. And in exchange for that, obviously, there's communities being changed. People now have jobs. There's now income into that community. And in fact, Doterra does a lot of humanitarian work in those communities as well. So if you're looking in communities where the frankincense is harvested, for instance, Muslim communities where essentially girls weren't allowed to attend school, Doterra is instrumental there in making sure that, okay, part of the agreement is that we're going to build a school and that girls are allowed to attend. So again, that's a passion of mine. It's called co-impact sourcing. Humanitarian issues are really important to me, but I'm trying to just stay on track here. It is something that perhaps I might create another video on, or if you want more information, just reach out and ask me. That's the end of part 1, where we've just talked about what are essential oils and why Doterra in particular. So next time we'll get into the usage of essential oils, how to use them most effectively, and also using some oils in particular. So there will be some that I will address in particular and what the uses are for those and the benefits of those. Okay, so tune back in for that, and until then, stay safe. Bye.